Hello, I'm Simon. Welcome back to the workshop. Now, I've recently been making some pens and turning them on the mini lathe, and to do that I was using commercial pen kits and commercial pen blanks that I'd been given. I've still got some pen kits left, and I thought it would be interesting to see what difference it makes if I use scrap wood for my pen blanks rather than the commercial pen blanks. So in this video we're going to make some pens using the scrap wood from around the workshop, and what we'll do is we'll look at the ends and see if we can tell the difference between the pens that are made from the commercial pen blanks and those made from the scrap wood out of the scrap bin in the workshop. Let's get tinkering. This old block of wood was from a table. I'm going to turn it into blanks. It's just about the right size, although I do have to avoid a couple of holes in the wood where there were screws originally. You can see the holes where the screws were. They're too close to the edge to be a problem. I've marked the pen blanks that go together so that the grain matches when I put the pens together. Found this old piece of dowel. It's the back of an old broken chair, and I'm thinking I can make this into a pen as well. I suspect the wood is beech or some other British hardwood that's used for making furniture. Perhaps it's ash, I don't know. If you know, let me know in the comments. Incidentally, when you're cutting dowels on a bandsaw, you need to be very careful because they can spin and result in injury. So if you're going to follow me, then do this at your own risk. Assess the dangers and decide yourself if it's the right thing for you to do. And here's a commercial piece of doweling that I've used to stir some paint in the past. Soon it's going to become a pen. And now a bit of old broom handle. Here's literally some old scrap wood ready for turning and making into pens. The round stock I can put directly in the jaws in order to drill the hole down the middle. So I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but there is a hairline crack in this piece going down here. So I'm not going to be able to use this bit of broom handle. The square stock, I need to use my 3D printed collets. So here are my scrap wood blanks all drilled. I now need to fit the little brass inserts into them, and then they'll be ready for putting on the lathe. Now you can see here I'm not really thinking and I make a mistake. I start gluing the tool rather than the brass insert. I've not actually put the brass insert on the tool. So I now need to go and clean that up before I can finish the rest of them. Now I've been told you should use super glue to glue the brass inserts to the wooden blanks. I've tried that. I found it just to be a little bit messy and they didn't really stick very well. I found that the consistency of Yoo-hoo does seem to work very well. I've not had any come out or unstick, which I did have when I used the thin super glue that I've got. Now, I'm not really the sort of person that likes manufacturing and making the same thing over and over again. I like to try something, make it, be satisfied with what I've made, and then move on to make something else. But I found this pen turning to be quite addictive. I've already run out of all of the kits that were given to me, and that was probably enough for about 15 pens. I've ordered some more kits. They should arrive in a day or so, so I'll be able to finish these, because you might have noticed I didn't actually have enough kits for every blank that I'm making here. I trim the ends using an appropriately named end trimmer. While you're watching this, and don't worry, I'm not going to show you me turning all of the pens. If you are interested in turning pens, then I'll leave a link in the video description. You might also see that I've added a ways cover to my mini lathe. This is to protect the lathe bed, or the ways, from sawdust. I like to keep the lathe bed oiled, and the sawdust soaks the oil up, and potentially, if I don't clean it off immediately, could result in the ways becoming pitted or corroded. So the ways covers just help prevent that and keep the sawdust above the bed of the lathe. For the teak, I'm going to try something different and seal or stabilise the wood using some CA or super glue, and then once that's dried I then sand it down and add the friction polish. I'm just interested to see, treating the wood this way, what difference it makes. So I'm going to produce another one of these teak pens where I don't use the CA glue and I just use the friction polish, and we can have a look at the end to see what difference it makes. Now, I have been told that you don't actually need to use polish if you treat them with the CA glue, and that you just need to sand them up to 6000 grit, and then you'll end up with a very shiny pen. But I don't have any sandpaper at the moment above 400 grit, which is why I'm going to treat them with the friction polish afterwards. But I will at some point try the approach of just sanding them up to 6 or 12,000 grit and just see how that turns out as well. But that's not for this video. So I've managed to make enough for 7 pens, and now I start assembly. I'm using the leftover grey pen kits, which I don't particularly like the finish of, for the lighter woods, and I use the gold coloured pen kits for the teak pens. I definitely prefer the darker colours to the lighter ones, but I guess they all have their charm. If I look closely at the 3 teak pens, I can definitely tell the 2 that I used the super glue on first before rubbing down and then adding the friction polish, versus the one that's just got the friction polish on. The one with just the friction polish isn't quite as shiny as the ones that had the super glue on, but it's not that obvious in the video. Overall, I'm very happy with the results, especially given that all of this is scrap wood that really couldn't have been used for much else. To make pens from pieces of wood that really couldn't have been used for much else, I find very satisfying. It's really nice to know that these pieces, most people I think would have just thrown away, and that I've actually managed to find a use for those little pieces of wood and given them a new life. So some of these pens are made from scrap wood, others are made from commercial pen blanks. Can you tell which is which? Let me know in the comments. Well, I'd be interested to know what you think of these pens, and if you think this was a good use of that scrap wood and my time. Personally, I don't really like the grey pen kits, but I had them so I used them, and I think using them on the lighter colour woods was the right choice. I don't think that I would buy these grey kits. I'd certainly buy chrome ones. I think they would look a lot nicer than these grey ones. My favourites though are the ones that are made out of teak. I think they look rich and they look premium, whereas the grey and light beechwood pens I think look a bit more utility. If you've enjoyed this video, then please leave a thumbs up. If you've got any questions or comments, then please leave them below. I read them all. And if you haven't already, then please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.